All right. So the Florida Panthers just took down the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-1 in the third game of the season on the road at Amalie Arena. I'm Alex Baumgartner, joined here with Shane Marinelli, as always, on the Fifth Line 5R show. We are doing post game today. And, well, Shane, as you said right before we came on, I think we have a pretty good hockey team.
Yeah, I mean, that was fun. And just it seems like they're starting to do it in different ways tonight. I mean, like I tweeted out, they just did it with a 20-year-old goalie, and Lundell was the star tonight. I don't want to. You could say quote unquote breakout game because he's played excellent on the PK all year and has had a couple close chances in the first two games. But I didn't see the first period. I listened to the second period on the radio. Was coming home from dinner and then watched the third period. But he obviously had that shorthanded chance early, and then capped it off playing with Reinhart. As Alex, you pointed out, it's that seems to be working. You can probably talk more in depth with that, but I mean, just his penalty kill ability is even on that last one. Just his ability to get in front of some shots and chip the puck away, and his anticipation. It's even someone who hasn't watched hockey their whole life can pick up on how good this kid is.
Yeah, and obviously, first NHL goal, also got his first NHL point on the Brandon Montour goal. If you look at the face-off percentage, he led the Panthers. He had, I think it was 56% on the draw. He was taking draws at the end of the game on the penalty kill. They were making the 20-year-old take it over Alexander Barkov. And I know you've mentioned it multiple times throughout this young NHL season. They have a lot of confidence in Anton Lundell. And I think I brought it up in the preseason specifically. When he was playing in Finland with the national team, he was leading the men's team as a 19-year-old at the World Championships. And he was just absolutely dominating this game. This is against the back-to-back champions, the Stanley Cup champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning. He could have had maybe one or two more points if Vasilevsky didn't stop some of these pucks. So, yeah, he played great. Sam Reinhart, which was his new line mate for tonight, got his first 2 points as a Florida Panther. He looked really good. Obviously, there was a questionable call there where I thought he got all puck after a nice stick check, which also could have set up Lundell for a nice opportunity. But yeah, he got 2 points. He laid the body. They move him off the first line, put him on the third line, and it's worked. Q isn't afraid to switch it up, as we saw. Even though the Panthers were 2-0 heading into this game, they still made a couple lineup changes. I think Reinhart looked really well tonight as well.
Yeah, Duclair has experience playing with Barkov. They used that line a little bit last year when they were kind of moving things around. So Duclair is one of those guys, which is nice because you can, obviously there was the 9-1-1 line last year, and then he's played with Barkov, and then he's played on the lower lines this year and has played excellent. So he's this guy where it's like, okay, at least we know we can move him up and down, kind of the lineup sheet, and he's going to give us production, which gives us freedom to make moves somewhere else. We're not going to hesitate.
Yep, so I think Shane froze just now. We'll just wait 1 second for him. But as we try and get him back here, yeah. So yeah, Sam Reinhart was playing really good tonight. All right, Shane's back here. Just had to quickly jump in while you were frozen. So I continue, Shane.
Yeah, well, I don't know exactly where I cut off, but like I said, Duclair just gives them a lot of versatility up and down the line because he's going to give you production with his speed. He always just has that ability to break away. So, if Q doesn't have to worry, be like, well, if we take Duclair off this line, to try and get someone else going, he's not to make this. He's like, I can put Duclair anywhere and try and get other lines going. So everything just seems to be clicking.
Yeah, so we talked a little bit about the forwards. Obviously, Brandon Montour scored another solid performance defensively by Aaron Ekblad and Mackenzie Weegar. But let's talk about the goaltender, Spencer Knight. 20 years old, first start of this NHL season. Once again, plays really good against Tampa and makes 30 saves. Also had to kill a good amount of penalties. Had 9 shorthanded stops. Stopped every shot he had to on the power play. And the only goal that went in was from Braden Point, who is one of the best players in the NHL. You talked about it on the last show. If he pans out, he's going to be a fan favorite in Florida. He is already, but he could be the face of the city, not just the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, again, like we just talked about, he has all the charismatic, the young superstar, the American, all those type of things. If he starts to get hot and play like this, especially and just some of the way he plays, for him to come out of the crease on that breakaway, that's as someone who's watching hockey as long as you, that's a 20-year-old with some serious confidence, right? To be doing that.
Yeah, that's against is the play against Stamkos, where Stamkos comes in. Stamkos, one of the best goal scorers of his generation, completely cuts the angle, which isn't necessarily the safest thing to do. But he thought the best thing to do was challenge Steven Stamkos, and it worked out. So that kind of just shows basically the balls that Spencer Knight has. Not only is he good in his crease, he can come out of the crease, and he's not afraid to play the puck. Very similar to a Carey Price, where he's kind of like a third defenseman out there. He can make the stretch pass. He can play it along the boards. This kid's good.
Yeah, it's super fun to watch. Like I said, two 20-year-olds did it tonight. I think you made a good point in the chat. Right when Tampa tied it, you had that feel maybe the offense isn't going tonight, and then that first line comes out and just kind of grits out a goal. Right, that was just get pucks on net, just keep slapping away at it, and the pucks can eventually bounce out. And as every NHL player always says in every interview, let's just get pucks on net type thing. And Barkov, eventually put it home. And you made the point, like, that's what a first line needs to do. Okay, they tied it up. It seemed like Tampa just got a little bit of momentum, and the first line went out there and just shut the door on it.
Yeah, so in the first period, it was a pretty even game in the scoring chance department. Florida did outshoot the Lightning at the beginning, but Tampa did have some really good chances. The defense was able to kind of swell up the front of the net, block some shots, clear some bodies. However, Tampa was kind of controlling zone possession for a while, and it wasn't until Florida really started tearing it up later on in the game where you could tell that it was the Panthers' night. It was a closer game than the score line tells. Also, John Cooper once again decides to pull the goalie extremely early. He did that in opening night against Pittsburgh. They actually gave up 3 empty net goals. They had a power play this time, and they pulled him with about 3-4 minutes remaining in the game. Interesting tactics by Cooper. Didn't work out for him this time. But yeah, the Lightning are 2-1-0 now. Or I think
I think they're
2-1-1.
Yeah, 2-1-1. Okay.
Yeah. So they're 2-1-1. The Panthers are 3-0-0. Buffalo Sabres are also 3-0-0. So tough competition up there in the Atlantic. They're doing a great job as well.
Alex, I wanted to ask you something kind of, and just maybe you'd fill the audience on this. Do you think with Cooper pulling that goalie so early, there's maybe a little bit of analytics behind it? There's a little bit more of new thinking of, we don't care. We rather give ourselves a longer chance to catch up, especially a team like Tampa that's so good when they have the extra man, right? Like that's so much there. And it's just like, well, we rather than kind of take the chance of going down even more. Like they don't really care. It's like, this gives us a better chance to win. And there's maybe some analytics behind that.
So when he did it against Pittsburgh, I found it a little weird. Obviously, they didn't look good at all that game, and they were down by a couple, and it actually worked out a few times, but obviously Pittsburgh scored multiple times as well. This game, the Panthers had more of the momentum. Obviously, when you have Anton Lundell scores first goal, the bench is going to go crazy. You have a power play, you pull it, it's a 6-on-4, and Tampa 5-on-5 when they can control the puck in their own zone, as you know, are extremely dangerous. So you give them a 2-man advantage. Most of the time, you will create great scoring opportunities. However, some of the guys on the Panthers were they were really good on the penalty kill tonight. Anton Lundell specifically, just getting his sticks in the lane, stick checking guys, pressuring the defense. Not a lot of guys want to go pressure guys like Victor Hedman, but the 20-year-old did it tonight.
Yeah, it's it just, he's so calm and collective back there. I mean, he took some of those shots from Stamkos on the one-timer. He had a good save, didn't allow rebounds. There was kind of that one awkward one where they didn't blow the whistle right there towards the end. And it seemed like, I don't know exactly what happened there. I think Goldie pointed out on TV, like if they lose out of this puck, they're supposed to kind of,
yeah, usually you're supposed to blow it dead, but if one of the refs saw the puck loose, so the puck was loose, but from our view, you could clearly tell it was hard to see the puck, but one of the referees must have seen it. I don't know. These guys have Hawkeye tonight, because 2 times the Panthers had penalties where the referee on the other side of the ice called it and the guy in front of the ice didn't. So interesting officiating to say the least, but the Panthers did come out on top tonight, so that's all that matters. Let's look towards the next game and another really good opponent, the Colorado Avalanche. Nathan McKinnon and co come to town. Um, this is a team that could also compete for the Stanley Cup. The Panthers played obviously the Lightning, who are always dangerous. I think the Islanders have a good shot of making it through the East. Colorado is one of those guys on the West where you're gonna really be able to like see their game translate against the Panthers game. It's gonna be an interesting test for the Cats at home. I think it's at home. Yeah, at home.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's just kind of back to back. I mean, I think a lot of people, especially during the playoffs last year, thought like even saw the Avalanche as the better team than Tampa moving through the playoffs. I remember I even had a buddy of mine who's a Tampa fan, even after they beat Florida, said, "Yeah, great win, but I don't think anyone's beaten the Avalanche." And obviously, they were upset, by Vegas, right, last year in the playoffs. So, it'll be another really good test. I think I was saying to somebody before these last two games, or get Tampa and the Avalanche, let's get 3 points. That'd be great. But now, now they have a really, with that road win, let's go for it all.
Might as well. Obviously, there's a couple lineup changes tonight. So I'm going to be interested to see if Ryan Lomberg is back in the lineup. It was an interesting choice not to play him. Mason Marchman, I believe he did get a point tonight, but I didn't think he was necessarily as productive as Lomberg could have been. He doesn't really have the foot speed for me, but he is a big body and he was throwing the body around tonight. So he didn't play terribly. He's going to get some more chances. But yeah, these depth forwards, there's a lot of depth in these bottom six lines.
Alec, I wanted to ask you, Lomberg's obviously favorite kind of goon player of mine. And do you think there was an element of they didn't start Lomberg tonight because maybe we're accused, like, we're the better team. And if we go out there and try and goon this up and gloves dropping, that's almost advantage Tampa. Like, let's just go out there and smoke them because right now, especially, without Kucherov, like we're a lot better than this team, and we just showed it. That maybe Q is. This is just kind of a wild guess. That's like, let's not go out there. But Marchand last year, I guess, he was just as chippy with Pat Maroon and all those guys as well last year. So it's not like.
I think Q is an old school coach and he wants the boys to be physical, especially when you're going up against guys who have seemed to get irritated against Florida, specifically against Lomberg, like Sergachev and Lomberg throughout these battles. It was more for me as just throwing Marchman in, giving him some game time because he didn't do anything wrong. It's just Lomberg was able to get the first two games in and he played pretty well. They weren't necessarily going to pull Jumbo or Horny yet. Will there be a lineup change for the next game? Possibly, possibly not. On that bottom pairing, who knows? But I think it was more of just getting Marchman's feet wet against a top quality opponent and seeing how he was able to fit in because he was on the third line tonight, not the fourth. So I wouldn't necessarily say it was because of Q wanting to just be like, yeah, let's just show pure skill tonight. But it is a possibility. I wouldn't hold it out.
Yeah, and but I will say this: of all the great plays that were made tonight, to be absolutely petty, I think the play of the night is Fat Maroon fumbling the
the breakaway.
The breakaway there. So it's always enjoyable to see him that right after that. One of the many great things that happened tonight.
Yep. So Pat Maroon fumbles on the breakaway. Panthers win 4-1. Manny, what do you got?
So one funny thing, guys, during the broadcast, Bill Lindsay actually mentioned this. He said, Pat Maroon thought that he was about 10 years younger where he could kind of do all these dekes. It's like, no, dude, just shoot the puck. But I think it's just one of those things, right? When you look at this game overall, it was just those, again, Spencer Knight's composure, the depth that this team has. Even when Tampa tied it, we still didn't see the first line do anything, and then all of a sudden they go out there and score. So that's how deep this team is, right? So listen, if you're in South Florida and if you still don't like hockey, I don't know what you're missing. It's quite obvious. Every football team down here sucks right now. Collegiate, NFL. The Heat are on Thursday. Right now, this town is hockey and hockey, and basketball, right? So stop wasting time. Get your ass here on Thursday night against one of the best teams in the Western Conference. And by the way, Bill Lindsay did say it'll be the Avalanche and the Panthers in the finals. Recap of 1996. Most matchups that happen for a second time. The team that lost the first time normally wins the second time. I'm crossing fingers. We'll see what happens then. But yeah, man, a heck of a win. Tampa tonight.
Patrick Raw for them this time
Patrick
around.
Raw, Joe Sakic. None of those guys are on the team though, so I'm good with that.
All right, Shane. So let's wrap this up. We're gonna do the In the Box with Alex show tomorrow. You'll be there, right?
What time?
Same as last time. We'll do what time you can do, around 9 o'clock, possibly.
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
All right, so the crew will be back here once again tomorrow.
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock for the In the Box show from the Fifth Line 5-Hour crew. Panthers are 3-0 on the season. They beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-1 tonight. Great game from Anton Lundell, Spencer Knight, and company. From Shane and I, we'll see you guys next time.